a huge conversation at the moment, at the start of this week, around whether we should move to level 1 of the lockdown. The other big issue, I think, is still around corruption. That decision by the ANC's National Executive Committee to tell people implicated in corruption to step aside. Someone who has a little bit of an insider's view on all of this is Mondli Gungubele. He's the chair of Parliament's Social Development Committee and a member of the NEC of the ANC. Mr. Gungubele, good afternoon to you. Firstly, you'd have been watching the entire issue around social grants playing out very carefully through the pandemic. From today, people can now apply for a grant online for the first time. I presume you support these initiatives. All right, Mr. Gungubele, I don't know if you've hit the presidential mute button. We can't hear you at this stage. I'm optimistic that we will be able to hear you because I was able to hear you just a moment ago. So I'm hoping that we will actually be able to hear you speak as you speak to us. Let me put the question again. I presume that you welcome the fact that people now, from today, are actually able to apply for a social grant online.
Can you hear me now, Stephen?
Yes, I can. That's much better. Thank you. Go for it.
Okay. I'm saying, as committee, naturally, we are very happy taking into account issues of age and the fact that the COVID is still with us. And if you still have the memory of those queues where some people sleep in front of the offices of SASSA, it should be a huge relief for those who are entitled to this benefit.
Mr. Gungubele, I think it's your thumb that's just in touch of the screen there. We can't see most of you, though, so let's just continue. There's a whole conversation at the moment around corruption in our society. You will have seen this playing out. You're on the NEC of the ANC. We had that big decision 2 weeks ago saying that people who are implicated in corruption must step aside. I presume you support that decision.
I'm part of the NEC, Stephen. The NEC said on the 31st, 2nd, and 31st, 1st and 2nd of August, July and 1st and 2nd of August, and repeated, made a follow-up on the 29th and 30th of August to really look at the matter. And you know the briefings that were done by the office bearers, that how serious the NEC is taking this matter.
Do you believe the decision is going to be actually implemented? I mean, Ndile Lungise hasn't resigned yet. We haven't seen Bongani Bongo resign yet. We haven't seen Sandile Gomede resign yet. Do you think that they should be looking at their position? Should they be stepping aside?
Maybe. The office bearers are sitting today. The NWC will be sitting next week, Stephen. If you look at our statement that the president presented together with the official, it says the office bearers are going to lead in the implementation of this decision. The fact that the decision is going to be implemented is non-negotiable. What is key are the modalities and how it is going to be implemented, where there are legal implications and so on. So in other words, we are awaiting the office bearers and the NWC to process this. And I'm still very confident because the decision has been taken. Once it's been taken, it has to be implemented.
Over the weekend on Friday, we saw that 5 mayors in Northwest were told to step down by the interim provincial committee there. 4 of them belong to the ANC Women's League. The ANC Women's League in Northwest said it was instructing its members not to resign. Are you expecting a little bit of a pushback here?
Well, I have not come close to that, Stephen, but when I read that, I found it disturbing because I couldn't understand where it comes from. But what I want to say, in the ANC, there is one organization. Both the Women's League and the ANC Youth League do not have the mandate outside that of the ANC. Whilst they are autonomous board within the organization, once the organization has taken a decision, it binds everyone who is in the ANC, including its structures. But I'm very careful of commenting on the details up until we get I get a proper information. But it will be disturbing if the Northwest is implementing the resolution as directed by the NEC, that Women's League, to people it refers as its members in the organization, should not respect it, because that's a very strange call.
I mean, you will know how big a test this is for the ANC. I think there are many South Africans who are very frustrated over the corruption that we've seen during COVID-19, very upset, very angry, in fact. I haven't seen and felt anger like this for quite some time. This is a big test for your organization, isn't it?
There's no doubt, Stephen. You see, the point is, if you guys have access to our resolutions, especially those of 2017, where the ANC under renewal articulates its understanding of challenges. One of the challenges is loss of confidence in the organization. That is in our conference resolution, where it explains that the reason is corruption, nepotism, and a number of related issues like those, and the commitments to deal with those issues. And the NEC, that was seized with this matter for the entire month of August, also did acknowledge how serious the matter. That's why the briefing and the directives that the office bearers were able to table on the 31st of August.
There's a huge concern around the economy coming out of COVID-19 and the lockdown, and you will have seen this. You obviously have experience in that ministry as well. I mean, this is a very difficult situation that we're now in. Is there an economic plan coming from what you can see?
I've just got a correspondence, Stephen, that the NEC will be meeting at the end of this month. And I'm sure that because that item has been discussed, papers have been presented, and I'm sure the NEC at the end of this month will take this to higher levels. It's a matter that the NEC is preoccupied. Actually, it's number one priority, knowing the damage that COVID has done to our economy, and also the fact that our economy had challenges even before COVID.
Okay. I mean, generally speaking, there are a huge number of lessons that we've learned about our society during this time. I have to say, a lot of people are very worried about the future. Do you have reasons for hope?
If I didn't have the reasons for hope, Stephen, maybe you would be hearing that I'm struggling to get a permit to get a right to stay either in Zimbabwe or in America. That's none of my plans, because this is the only home I have. And I have no doubt that generally the ANC is committed to be a useful main role player in resolving the challenges of this country. I've got a full hope that we are going to turn around these matters, especially taking into account how intensified is the focus of the NEC, especially on the matter of corruption, including economy as led by the president.